a very successful vice president and as a phenomenally successful president, there is no single thing that he has done in that entire career that is a greater or more consequential act of service and sacrifice to this country.
Girl, the American public were getting boring every night with your MSNBC show. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Go outside and talk to real people. She is so out of touch with ordinary people. It is amazing.
Can we all just agree that Ana Kasparian has gone full MAGA? In this video, she's going to be completely dismantling and debunking the insanity that comes out of MSNBC host Rachel Maddow's mouth. Yes, if you recognize that name, it's because she's known for saying the stupidest things on the face of the planet. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to RTM News to ensure to YouTube that you are enjoying our videos. And then that way they'll continually show up in your feed and then they'll push it out to more people. I'm Titus. Let's get into this video.
Is there a world in which Democrats should have a backup plan for Joe Biden?
A backup plan?
If he needed to be replaced on the ticket. If we're 3 months out and Trump's still beating him in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina.
I mean, I think the backup plan is run a better campaign. Biden hasn't been disqualified from running for the presidency by anything having to do with any of his performance. It's just that it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah.
And so I think the backup plan is fight harder. Yeah. The backup plan is make sure you win the Senate. The backup plan is people should volunteer earlier and do more and give more money and do all of those things.
That was MSNBC host Rachel Maddow back in June of 2024. And keep that in mind when you consider that Semaphore spoke to key media figures across digital, print, and legacy media, Republicans and Democrats, to discuss the things that they got wrong in 2024. And judging by that video you just watched, Rachel Maddow did get some things wrong. The question is, did she learn a damn thing about it? Well, rather than citing her real mistakes and terrible predictions, she actually ended up blaming her audience. So here's her statement to Semaphore. She said, "I thought people would be more unnerved by JD Vance, less the cat lady thing and more the Americans are going to have to get over the dictator phobia, Mencius Moldbug thing." Now,
they always blame you. It's never them. It's never their ideas. It's never their politicians. They're untouchable. They're perfect. Don't touch God's anointed as far as they're concerned. And this is why the results that we got happened. And I'm grateful for them, but like, you're the problem. Your ideas are bad. Your ideas aren't helpful to the American people, to the middle class. But of course, instead of taking responsibility yourself, you want to blame other people. You want to blame the American people.
Oh, if you're unfamiliar with Mencius Moldbug, that's a pseudonym for Curtis Yarvin, who Vance has followed for years. And Curtis Yarvin is someone who's against liberal democracy and is in favor of a monarchy, though he seems to have a tough time defending that position. Cenk Uygur actually interviewed him about it, and it was embarrassing if you ask me. But on October 1st, Gallup released the following poll comparing voter ratings between Tim Walz, who was the VP pick for Kamala Harris, and JD Vance. And yeah, I mean, she is right that people didn't seem to fear JD Vance as much as she was hoping for. So at that point in time, in October of 2024, less than half of registered voters nationally had a positive view of Tim Walz or JD Vance. A combined 46% rate Walz as either an excellent or pretty good choice versus 41% for JD Vance. And despite Walz's slight lead on this measure, the two were equally likely to be rated as poor choices. Just under 4 in 10 voters see each as such. So she is right that people didn't buy into the fear-mongering about JD Vance as much as she hoped for, but to kind of pivot to what she believes her audience got wrong, or the Democratic voters got wrong, or voters in general got wrong, instead of taking ownership of the things she got wrong, is kind of amazing. But
no, what's amazing is the fact that you were upset and confused that the fear-mongering didn't work. Who propagates that fear-mongering? You, the mainstream media. You were able to spin a narrative to characterize an individual in whatever way you see fit. And you chose to make people afraid. The problem was nobody believes you. Nobody trusts you anymore. You've lost trust of the American people, which is why that alternative media, him going on Theo Vaughn for a couple hours, him going on Joe Rogan for 3 hours, had more impact on the public because they got to see him unfiltered, without manipulative tactics, leading questions, assumptive questions. They didn't have to deal with it. Just got to have a real raw conversation with a podcaster who just genuinely cared to know about the individual. And no, that's not what you guys do. And you're so shocked it didn't work. That's terrifying to me. I'm surprised if fear-mongering didn't work, so you knew what you were doing. Got it.
But what do you think, Cenk?
Yeah, so I mean, look, even that quote is telling because it's indecipherable to the average person. Get over dictatorphobia, Mencius Moblug thing. What are you talking about? So look, I interviewed Curtis Yarvin, as Anna pointed out, so I know what she's talking about. The average person doesn't, and nobody knows about Curtis Yarvin. And yeah, he's comical and ridiculous, and that's why I'm worried about JD Vance and Donald Trump, and that's why I voted against them. But the average guy doesn't know that Curtis Yarvin is in favor of a monarchy, which is actually a dictatorship, which is what JD Vance was, the fact that JD Vance is in favor of that is problematic, etc. So one, out of touch with what actual human beings are going through. They're worried about gas prices and food prices. They're not worried about Mencius Moldbug, who they've never heard of. And secondly, and even more importantly, she's saying, damn it, the fear-mongering didn't work.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly right. I mean, it's amazing that, look, I'm always amazed at the, I guess, allergic reaction to any self-reflection at all. It's okay to admit that you got things wrong. It's actually admirable when people admit, especially people in media who are supposed to be, sharing accurate information. It's okay to say, look, I got that wrong. In fact, we're going to give you examples of people who actually did take ownership, and I give them a lot of credit for that. It builds credibility when you're willing to admit when you've gotten something wrong. And by the way, remember, this is what she said when Joe Biden ultimately ended up dropping out of the presidential race.
Just thinking about the president right now, what a man, what a patriot. What an act of selfless devotion to your country. And he has been a phenomenal president. He ended the presidency of Donald Trump at one disastrous term. And he did it while being decent and civil and honorable and normal and occasionally boring at a time when boring was absolutely what we needed. And I just, his career of decades in public service as a senator and as a very successful vice president and as a phenomenally successful president, there is no single thing that he has done in that entire career that is a greater or more consequential act of service and sacrifice to this country.
Girl, the American public were getting boring every night with your MSNBC show. What are you talking?
Oh my gosh, Rachel. She actually said that. Joe Biden, a phenomenal president. He's literally vice president for one of the most divisive administrations ever. Not even talking about his, Obama's. He was another divisive president, calling all these MAGA people, separating us as if we were not Americans. Oh, well, everyone, the regular conservatives are fine, the regular Republicans, but the MAGA Republicans, they're bad. They're not good. Showing his fist in the air with that red, he looked like freaking Emperor Palpatine or something. The homie was like a phenomenal president. Our border just being completely ramsacked by illegal immigrants, by the cartel. Nobody being able to afford anything because inflation's through the roof. That went up, prices went up, but wages didn't. Taxes galore, sending billions of dollars to other countries. Meanwhile, people are struggling here with Hurricane Helene and all these other things. Oh, got it. Phenomenal president. Rachel Maddow, you are a joke. You're an actual joke. And everything you said was BS, ending the Trump presidency. Well, look what Trump just did. Ended the Biden presidency. Ridiculous.
Talking about? What are you talking about? Go outside and talk to real people. She is so out of touch with ordinary people. It is amazing.
Yeah. So look,
ain't that the truth? Out of touch. I've been saying that for months. These people are out of touch with reality and what we think, what we want, what we desire. They just don't care. We're the news, we present the facts, and the facts are whatever we decide they are, and you're going to believe them because we have been established for years upon years upon years. And so why would you trust Joe Rogan over us when we've been in power for 50, 60, I don't know how long mainstream media has been out. That's the problem. You guys have been on us for so long that you confuse the masses into thinking that means you're right. So alternative media started coming around and kind of poking holes in everything that you guys have said, and now you've lost power, the stronghold you had over the American people. People don't watch you or care anymore. Like half of these companies are going out of business. The only one that's still doing well is Fox. And look at that, the more conservative leaning one. Now I'm saying that means anything, but oh my gosh, Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur, I'm telling you, they're just going full MAGA in just a few moments. I swear. They're calling out all the libs and we love it. Appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment down your thoughts below. I want to know what you guys are thinking. See you on the next one. Peace.